Okay, so you want to be a lawyer. Sharp suit, corner office, arguing cases that matter, and a salary that puts you comfortably in the upper class before you're 30. One of the last respectable paths to real money that doesn't require a stethoscope. That's the pitch. That's what every legal drama on television has quietly sold to an entire generation. Here's what the pitch leaves out. Half of all law school graduates never come close to the salary everyone imagines. They finish with well over $100,000 in debt, enter a job market split violently in two, and land on the wrong side of that split, earning less than a good plumber while carrying the loan balance of a small mortgage. Being a lawyer can absolutely make you wealthy. It can also leave you with 6 figures of debt and a salary that never justifies it. And the strangest part is this: the two outcomes often start from the exact same law school in the exact same graduating class. By the end of this, you'll understand precisely what separates them and why almost nobody entering law school understands the bet they're actually making. Before we talk about salaries, we need to talk about what a legal career actually is, because lawyer is one word stretched across a dozen completely different financial realities. A corporate attorney at a large firm drafting billion-dollar merger contracts, a public defender juggling 200 cases at once, a personal injury lawyer advertising on highway billboards, a small-town solo practitioner writing wills, and a government prosecutor. These are all lawyers. They share a degree, a bar exam, and almost nothing else financially. One of them might clear 7 figures, another might struggle to service their student loans. The word on the diploma is identical. The economics could not be more different. This distinction matters more in law than in almost any other profession, because which kind of lawyer you become is largely determined in a narrow window right after graduation, and often by forces that have very little to do with how good a lawyer you actually are. Start with the cost of entry, because law has quietly become one of the most expensive degrees in America relative to what it reliably pays. 4 years of college first. Then 3 years of law school, where tuition alone at a private program now routinely runs $50,000 to $70,000 a year before living costs. Add those in, and 3 years of law school can cost well over $200,000 all in. Most students borrow the majority of it through federal loans that begin accruing interest the moment they're disbursed at rates higher than any mortgage. The average law graduate leaves school owing around $130,000. At many prestigious private schools, that number climbs past $200,000. And unlike an aspiring doctor, who at least knows a high salary is coming eventually, the law graduate faces a market that makes no such promise. The debt is guaranteed. The income is not. Now comes the trapdoor, and in law, it has a specific, well-documented shape that catches almost everyone off guard. It's called the bimodal salary distribution. In most professions, salaries cluster around a middle. A few people earn a little more, a few a little less, but most land somewhere near the average. Law does not work that way. When you chart the starting salaries of law graduates, you don't get one hump in the middle. You get 2 separate peaks with a valley between them. The first peak sits down around $70,000 to $90,000 a year. This is where the majority of graduates land. Public defenders, small firms, government roles, mid-sized practices. The second peak sits far to the right, up around $225,000 a year. The starting salary at large elite corporate firms, an amount that has become a standardized industry benchmark. Here's what makes it a trapdoor. There is almost nothing in between. Very few lawyers start at, say, $150,000. The middle is a valley, not a peak. You are statistically pushed toward one pole or the other, and which pole you land on is decided early, brutally, and often permanently. It's driven heavily by which law school you attended and your class rank within it. The large firms recruit almost exclusively from top-ranked schools and the highest performing students at everyone else. Miss that cutoff, and the $200,000 door doesn't just close slowly, it was often never opened to begin with. Two graduates, same debt load, same diploma on the wall. One walks into a salary nearly 3 times the others, and the gap frequently widens for the rest of their careers. Most people take on the debt, imagining the right-hand peak. Statistically, most of them will live on the left. Now let's look at the money itself, because when law pays, it pays through several distinct channels, and understanding them explains the whole industry. The first and most famous is the billable hour. Large firm lawyers don't earn a flat salary in exchange for showing up. They're expected to bill a target number of hours to clients, often 1,900, 2,000, sometimes more per year, at the hourly rates that can run from $300 for a junior associate to well over $1,000 an hour for a senior partner. Here's the detail nobody outside the industry understands. To bill 2,000 hours, a lawyer typically has to physically work far more than 2,000 because not every hour worked is billable. Reading, training, administrative time, none of it counts. Hitting the target can mean 60 and 70-hour weeks all year. That $225,000 salary is real. It's also priced per actual hour of your life, far lower than the headline suggests. The second channel is contingency fees, the engine of personal injury and plaintiff side law. Here, the lawyer takes no fee up front and instead collects a percentage of any settlement or verdict, commonly around a third. This is a completely different business model. A single large case can pay a contingency lawyer more than a corporate associate earns in years, but most cases are far smaller. Many produce nothing at all, and the lawyer absorbs that risk personally. It's the highest variance corner of the entire profession. The third channel is the equity partnership, the actual prize the whole tournament is structured around. Associates at large firms spend 7 to 10 years grinding toward the possibility of being made partner, which means owning a share of the firm itself and taking a cut of its total profits rather than a salary. Top partners at elite firms can earn well into 7 or 8 figures a year. But the pyramid is steep by design. A large firm hires many associates knowing only a small fraction will ever make equity partner. The rest are expected to leave along the way. The high salary of the associate years is, in part, the firm extracting maximum output during the window before most of them wash out. Now, the other side of the ledger, the costs that quietly erode even the high-earning version of this career. For the solo practitioner and small firm owner, the overhead is relentless. Office rent, malpractice insurance, legal research subscriptions that cost thousands a year, staff salaries, and bar dues. A lawyer running their own shop can bill healthy numbers and still take home a fraction of it after the practice's costs are paid. For the big firm associate, the cost isn't overhead, it's attrition and burnout. The hours that generate the salary also generate one of the highest rates of stress, substance abuse, and career exit of any white-collar profession. Many who reach that right-hand salary peak leave it within a few years, unwilling to keep paying the true price. And for everyone, there's the opportunity cost. 7 years of school, the same 7 years a peer spent earning and investing, gone into tuition and exams before the first real paycheck arrives. To see how these forces collide in the real world, look at what happened to the legal job market after 2008. For decades, the assumption sold to prospective students was simple: get into law school and a stable, high-paying career waits on the other side. Then the financial crisis hit. Corporate legal work dried up almost overnight. Large firms, facing collapsing demand, did something the profession had assumed was unthinkable. They laid off associates in waves and rescinded job offers they'd already made to incoming graduates. Meanwhile, law schools, seeing strong application numbers, had kept expanding class sizes. The result was a flood of heavily indebted graduates entering a market with far fewer of the high-paying jobs they'd borrowed against. An entire cohort learned the hard way that the debt was fixed and guaranteed, while the six-figure salary at the end had never been promised to anyone. The lesson underneath it holds today. In law, the cost of entry is certain, and the payoff is a probability, not a guarantee. So, does the math work? The good scenario. You attend a highly ranked school or finish near the top of your class at a solid one. You land on the right-hand peak at a large firm. You treat those brutal early years as a debt destruction sprint, living modestly while earning a corporate salary, wiping out your loans in a few years instead of 20. Whether you make partner or leave for an in-house role at a company later, you exit with your debt gone and a credential that keeps paying. In this version, law is exactly the wealth engine it advertised itself to be. The bad scenario: you attend a mid-tier school, finish in the middle of your class, and land, like most graduates do, on the left-hand peak at $70,000 or $80,000 a year. Your $130,000 loan balance now costs more each month than you can comfortably pay, so you stretch the repayment across decades and the interest compounds against you the whole time. You're a licensed attorney working long hours, and financially you're treading water well into your 40s. Same degree, same bar license. The difference between those two lives was decided in a very small window: which school admitted you and where you finished in the rankings, far more than by how hard you worked afterward, because everyone in this profession works hard. A law degree looks like a key to the upper class. From the inside, it's actually a lottery ticket with a fixed six-figure price printed on the front, and the odds of winning determined years before you ever argue a case, by which door you walked through on your way in. The prestige is real. The high salaries are real, but they sit at one peak of a split distribution. And most graduates, through no failure of their own, spend their careers standing on the other one. In law, the diploma doesn't decide whether you get rich. The market you walk into on graduation day already made that call, and it made it quietly, long before you knew a decision was being made at all.